Barrio Logan is a small neighborhood in south central San Diego, bordered by the East Village and Logan Heights. Before Barrio Logan became Barrio Logan, it was originally a part of the Logan Heights neighborhood. In 1881, Logan Heights formed after John A. Logan provided federal land grants and subsidies for a transcontinental railroad ending in San Diego. Logan Heights became mostly residential and one of San Diego's oldest communities. Following this, the event of people in Mexico challenging the regime occurred due to the changing economic policies that would negatively affect their work and ways of living. Therefore, this struck the urgency of the people to migrate to America during the Mexican Revolution. The purpose of Mexicans migrating was to discover new stability and employment opportunities. After the refugees from the Mexican Revolution entered starting in the year 1910, the majority of residents came from this migration movement. After the Mexican Revolution, the neighborhood of Barrio Logan has an occupancy of at least 74% Hispanic descent. Due to the increase of residents after the Mexican Revolution, the southern part of Logan Heights became a unique community that is now known as Barrio Logan. Chicano Park is notably one of Barrio Logan's most popular landmarks, which contains activist art that depicts the ongoing issues surrounding the Latinx community. This has become a very sentimental location for the residents of Barrio Logan that they've had to protest for the right to keep these murals. While there is unification, gentrifiers dismiss the significance of the culture embedded in Barrio Logan, which fuels the continuous fight to protect the culture. Along with the fight for Chicano Park itself, Chicano Park serves as a site for protest of the environmental racism that the community has and continues to face today. Here's an ABC News clip of a protest in 2017 where locals in the community are standing against conservative activists.
In Charlottesville and the removal of some Confederate monuments across the country, now there's an opposite push by some conservative activists focused on parks like this and murals like this, depicting the struggle and history of immigrant communities in the United States. But that group that was out here today was surrounded and quickly had to be escorted by police.
They're gone, and I think we send a message to them. They push, we're going to push back.
The relationship between toxic emissions in Barrio Logan and the social economic status, as well as the proportion of minority groups to the rest of the population, is just one major issue affecting the residents of Barrio Logan today. On a daily basis, minority groups of Barrio Logan face a distribution of environmental burden heavily enough to disrupt their normal daily lives. Taken from a recent census, it shows that about 74% of Barrio Logan residents come from Hispanic descent, with only about 16% being white. Compared to the rest of San Diego County, residents here face uncharacteristically high levels of toxins, such as chemical storage and production emissions released into the air every day. In a recent study by the Environmental Health Coalition, Barrio Logan was listed as being in the top 5% of most polluted cities in the entire state of California. Residents here also face an 85 to 95% significant increase in risk of developing cancer compared to the surrounding cities. Also, as a result of heavy diesel particulate matter and toxic waste, this is the highest in San Diego County, where Barrio Logan possesses the highest asthma rates in the city of San Diego. In comparison, the asthma hospitalization rate in Barrio Logan is around 2.5 times the national average, according to the joint research studies conducted by the Environmental Protection Agency and the Environmental Health Coalition. These potent issues disrupting Barrio Logan have been growing in severity ever since World War II. During this period, the city of San Diego relocated Barrio Logan, which allowed for an influx of pollution from industries, junkyards, metal plating shops, and other toxins incompatible with a residential community. 20 years later, in 1967, the Coronado Bridge was built right through Barrio Logan, resulting in more destruction and displacement. This inequitable distribution of toxic waste seems to go largely ignored by the County of San Diego compared to the much wealthier areas. The median household income in San Diego is roughly $84,000 a year, while the median household income in Barrio Logan alone is about $49,700 a year. As a result of heavy inflation, especially over the last few years, this has led around 11,500 residents of Barrio Logan to be below the national poverty level and unable to afford the cost of living. This is almost 4 times as many residents living below the poverty line than those living in surrounding areas. Growing every day is a large homeless community in Barrio Logan, who all lack the necessary hygiene resources, which goes unrecognized and uncared for by the city. With the issue of the high cost of living in San Diego, as well as the toxic emissions polluting the streets of Barrio Logan every day, residents are facing a seemingly never-ending battle. In our next section, we've interviewed several residents from Barrio Logan, each with their unique perspectives on the issues that are affecting the community today. Our rounds of interviews features local shop owners.
All right. How long have you been a resident of Barrio Logan?
7 years.
7 years.
2016.
Have you seen any difference in the past 5 years when it comes to like gentrification or like the residents coming through?
Oh yeah,
Yeah?
huge difference.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's a lot of new buildings. There's a lot of older spaces that are just as old as they were when I got here. But everything seems to be really expensive no matter how it comes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we're having issues like with Airbnbs or just a lot of new buyers that are coming in here and they see what's happening, right? We have a lot of people that come through for coffee, for the cars, for the tacos, for, you know, a lot of things. The breweries are all female-owned breweries, for instance. That attracts a lot of attention, and of course the park.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, all those things combined, it's a hot spot.
Mm-hmm.
And so unfortunately we have people in here that don't know anything about the community and they want to ride on that. So yeah, that's what we get upset.
Yeah. And especially because Barrio Logan has been facing this like gentrification, gentrification, and environmental racism since the 70s. Do you really think that, I mean, do you, of course, no one's really thinking about the environmental racism, but do you think that, I'm trying to say, I lost the question.
No, it's fine, no worries. I would get lost too.
Yeah, like, do you think, like, these Airbnbs, these new buyers, these new business people, do you...
Gentrifiers.
Yeah, yes. The gentrifiers. Let's call them what they are. The gentrifiers, do you think they have any idea of, like, the air pollution or the, you know, the mass industrialization of the extractive companies here?
I don't think they have any idea of the history of the area. I mean, I myself, when I first got here, didn't have a lot of information on the area, but I quickly found out the history of it, and it felt really sacred and important, you know, for not just a cultural sense, but for community. So, yeah, there's a lot of history that they come in not caring, not knowing, and with a big insensitivity for it, I feel. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
And like the politicians themselves, like, you know, the local, like, they don't inform the people about, like, you know, the contamination.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a lot of locals don't even know, especially the elderly, like, they're not aware of this stuff. Like, they don't go on social media and stuff like that. So, and a lot of this information is like, oh, you know, we have meetings, but, you know, they don't really announce meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah, not everybody's so in touch, like in the loop of like social media and things where you can just kind of get a hold of each other that way. So yeah, a lot of the older folks are left out of really important conversations and things that they should ultimately really be made aware of, because it is a lot of health stuff that's not right.
It's like a lot of asthma and stuff costs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of this, yeah.
Somebody literally just went off and said,
NASCO, yeah.
But no, they don't know. And they're not informed. Yeah, and honestly, some of the newer buyers I don't think care. I think it's more important for the people that have been here for so long. They kind of got put into the situation because they've been here even before these companies were. And so then their area was contaminated after time, right? And nobody ever really let them know that these companies would be bringing that.
All right. Okay.
What's the interview for?
It's for a school project. I'm doing a Barrio Logan film project. I'm trying to bring more attention to the environmental racism because of just recently, you know, in February, they were trying to build the Mitsubishi cement factory.
Yeah.
And Rafael Castellos, the leader of the port of San Diego, he stalled it. But it's like, it's stalled. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
it hasn't been shut down.
Exactly. It's like residents of Barrio Logan have an 85 to 95% chance of developing cancer.
Yeah.
And that's just from the recent studies of being here. And it's in the top 5 most polluted cities of California.
Terrible.
Yeah, and they have the more higher asthma.
And I developed asthma, you know, at the age of 21 after living here for 15 years. So it's it's just crazy. So with that being said, have you guys experienced any health issues?
I actually had asthma before coming here, unfortunately. So I didn't get it from here, but no, just that fact alone is terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Just something that wasn't here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And they're still trying to keep it here, but then still doing the gentrification, putting a nice little sticker on it.
Yeah. On the gentrification part though, just so like I feel I'll say my piece on it, just because it's like super important, especially when the word community like gets thrown around so easily, and the word gentrification gets thrown around so easily, and knowing like there's people on the outside that look in that don't know what those words really mean, that truly what they mean, and then there's people that are interested and then they get misled on what the words mean. And as far as gentrification, like me personally, and I'm speaking for myself, this is not gentrification because over 80-90% of the businesses are brown owned. Okay, so you got to understand that. These are Chicanos, Mexicans, immigrants, people that have came here and put businesses here, small businesses. When you start to see a Subway or a 7-Eleven, an AM, PM, then we can start loosely using that word. But until then, we got to understand when we use that word, like know what we're talking about, because it makes us look very dumb and ignorant and like we don't know what we're talking about. Like I said, the majority of these people on here are small mom and pop businesses, whether they're from the neighborhood or not. That's a whole different conversation, but there's not that here. So we are not being gentrified. Like, it's not that. And as far as the word community, like there's so many different communities. There's an art community. There's a business community. There's so many. So what community are we talking about? Are we talking about the residents? That's a whole different community, you know? So it's just like we got to be clear on when we're taking this information back to schools or wherever else. Understand when we say community, like ask that question. Like, I went to the community of Barrio Logan. Well, what part of the community did you talk to? Did you talk to the lowrider community? Did you talk to Chicano Park community? Did you talk to the business community? Because they're like, oh, they're all for it. Well, who's for it?
Yeah,
exactly.
And
you know what I mean?
That's
So
kind of what we're talking about. The older folks get left out of
so and what happens is, being Chicano and brown, we end up being crabs in a bucket because we're all using these words, but we all have different meanings.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just, you know, like I said, it's just my opinion of what I see going on here. I've been on this block for almost 20 years, you know, and it's like I've seen it all. I've seen the highs and lows, but it's funny when people get misled on using community and gentrification. I looked at my here and I'm like, you think this is gentrified? Let's all jump in the car and let's go to the Mission District. Let's go to Boyle Heights.
Yeah.
Let's go. We haven't even scraped the surface. We haven't even touched. This is not gentrification at all. And I'll speak on it. And I have friends that think otherwise. My homies, they're like, oh no, Barrio Logan's becoming gentrified. I'm like, you need to stop with that.
Well, I think there's so many things that happen that people say, oh my God, when they see, you know.
But you know what it is, though? It's not that. It's change.
Right.
And people are scared of change. And when change occurs, we get, oh my God, we're being gentrified. Oh my God, we're gentrification. Oh my God. And it's like, oh, relax.
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait till we get a T-Mobile on the block. Wait till we get an AM/PM on the block.
Yeah.
We got a Metro.
I was gonna say, the thing is, though, sometimes things do sneak up. Like, for instance, and I brought it up, the Airbnbs. You don't see that. It just looks like the building that it was. But the reality of it is...
But that's...
It's a Motel 6.
Yeah. You know, but there's like some things that we just can't control.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
This block has already been sold.
Yeah.
We could fight all day long. These people have a different agenda than me and her. You know what I mean? We don't own this block. We don't own these properties, but we own the businesses. So our voice is still heard. But like I said, the two words, the community word, what community and gentrification, it's not here. It's not here. Where? I want to see one place on this block I'm not talking about this building. That's not gentrification. That's not it. That's not. If we think that is, then we need to go back and do our research and really read what it's truly about. You know what I mean? Have a lot of people been pushed out? Yeah, that's true. But to me, like, we're a victim of our own circumstances. That, you know what? That's a Brown issue. That's our problem. Because you know why? We never educated all these elderly people that were here. That was like, we should have been knocking on the doors and saying, hey, Mrs. Gonzalez, do you know anything about equity? She didn't know about no equity.
100%.
No one told that lady about
and
no
that's
equity.
very true. Nobody educates us on that.
Then you get this white man coming through and gets $300,000. Says, hey, Mrs. Gonzalez, you want this money? When was the last time the lady seen $300,000? Or when is she going to ever see it again? She's going to grab that money, load up her car, and drive whoever knows where.
That's why education is very crucial.
Yeah.
So that's but that's our problem.
Yeah. Right.
That's from not educating our own brown people. All these, if you know brown real estate people, you need to tell them, like, hey, you know what? Instead of worrying about all this, let's go educate our brown people about how, they own this house. A perfect example is my father-in-law. He's owned this house for almost 50-something years. It's almost paid off. He's never took no money out of it. We're like, bro, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? But it's not educating them. They don't know. They're first generation immigrants here. They're just happy they're here. And they own a house.
They're happy they own something.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They're happy. But that's the part. We don't educate our own people to be the longevity. It's called old money. That's why you get all these, you see, go to La Jolla or PB, and you see all these younger families walking, at the beach with their kids, and you're like, godly, what do they do? How do they be able to live here? This is $2 million. It's old money. It's generational wealth. They've taught their families and kids.
And that's a whole system we can talk about.
You know what I mean? But that's what we need to do as brown people.
Yeah,
you know
educate ourselves. Dude, you already know, one land as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, so... Sorry, I didn't mean to chime in.
No, it's cool. No, anything. It's so appreciated. Like, this is what I wanted, I wanted, like, the actual residents, the actual people, all of the community, you know, to, like, give an insight, because I feel like you said, everyone's split. Like, I grew up here, and I see it changing, and I'm like, oh, shit. I don't want to accept the change.
Don't let it get into you, and don't let it get the best of you, but just be aware, you know what I mean, and educate yourself on it. That's the best thing we can do. Because I think we'll be all on the same page if we just knew a little bit more. You know what I mean? Before we start opening our mouth, because then we look dumb. You know what I mean? It was like, well, I just talked to this guy over there at the front of the coffee shop. He said all this, and then you're going to go talk to my homegirl down there, and she's going to say something totally different. And then we look like mensos. You know what I mean? And so it's like we need to get on the same dialogue, at least when we talk, because you're going to take this information to school. We're going to sound like we ain't got it right. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not right. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? I'm not like, that's just my opinion. That's just where I think.
But you're from here.
But you're absolutely right, though, because, we were just talking about this, actually, so it's funny that you're coming to us right now. But, like, there's this big building, and, it's new, and it's different, and it's expensive. But it's about who's coming in to occupy that space.
Rents go up, people that can afford to come in, there's a sign of change. But until we see those big box stores, the Walmarts and all that, then that's when we have to get scared.
We got a neighborhood market right there.
Oh yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, but like but then how long will that take? They were like, they try to fight for that, but some things we can't win them all.
Still gotta go down.
But think about it, like around here, there's not that much. Think about it, we've been holding it down for a long time. Considering all the money out there in this day and age, people don't give a fuck.
We've been fortunate.
Brown folks, you know what I mean?
It has a nice strip.
All the Mexicans are over there. It's okay. We're gonna go build on it anyways. It don't matter. You know what I mean?
Because we do stand strong on it, though. We do have to stand strong.
We gotta be proud of that. Think about it, man. You can't. If we go to Target, where do we gotta go? All the way to Rosecrans, right? Or National City. Like, we don't have that
South Park.
here.
South Park.
South Park now. Well, they been sold out. You know?
Yeah, but you know that happened with South Park.
But they didn't want it either.
Yeah, they don't
Exactly. I remember that.
They didn't want that either. They were like, hell no. Even OB didn't want it.
Yeah, that's right.
All the hippies out there smoking weed. Like, what the fuck is this shit? You know what I mean?
Because it is. It's that beginning. It's that one. It takes
scary.
one. It takes one.
It's scary.
And then
so
the
I
next
think we're
thing
good.
a domino effect.
Honestly, I think we're good. We are doing a very good job of holding it down.
Yep.
But I don't know how much longer we can.
Damn.
No, that's exactly what I want to bring to this film, is just bring back that passion for activism back to Barrio Logan. I feel like it's still here for sure, but it's dying.
Positive activism is important too. Like, activism is a word that comes with this, like, kind of, you already feel like it's negative, but it doesn't have to be, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Positive activism, like, just
like educating people themselves, that's a form of activism, you know, educating others, you know. That's a
We've
way.
had people come, activists come, and staple to that tree, like literally straight up, white people not allowed.
Oh yeah, that's fucked up.
You know how bad that looks?
No kidding. I agree 100%.
Can you imagine if me, all of us right now, we've said, you know what, I'll meet you at the tavern in North Park, we're going to get some lunch, and there's a tree outside, and it said, brown people not allowed?
yeah.
How would that? I would
Or
be like,
and-
that would
Can't
be,
fight racism with racism.
it would even make me mad. It would hurt me. It would be like, whoa, like that shit still.
Yeah.
You know, and that happens here. That
Yeah.
happened. They pasted something on this window like not too long ago, and it was something along those lines of like just hella racist, and I'm like, that's bad. Like, no,
People are
let's
too
not
comfortable
say
being
that.
racist. Like,
Yeah, you know,
get
like,
that out of your system.
And then they don't think they're racist,
Yeah.
which is the issue. Is
Well, I'm just serving them back what they give us. Okay, but guess what? That doesn't make it right.
exactly.
Can you
There is
imagine
no
seeing
balance
that?
in
White
that.
people
There is
not
no
allowed.
balance in that.
I ripped that. They were all over. They were everywhere.
That's sad.
Yeah.
annoying.
I was like, oh, hell no. We were out there taking it down. Like, you know, it's like, man, that's not cool. You know, like, I know somewhere down the line, your brother, your sister, your aunt is married to a white man. Do you not like, you know what I mean? We are all not like, all holy
For
like that.
real, that part.
You know, you got a nephew that's white. You would love that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Something, you know, but yeah, it could be bad.
Well, I'm excited. You gotta
Yeah.
come back and let us know what this project goes.
For sure.
luck.
I'm gonna be
We'll be here.
posting.
I'm sure we'll be right here. Now.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
Of
I
course.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Thank you
Nice
so
to
much
meet
for your insight.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. See you guys.
Yeah, see you.
Yeah,
Have a
for
great
sure.
rest of your
Yeah,
day.
keep talking to me.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Realistically, Barrio Logan cannot clean its air pollution in a day, nor can it replace the lives lost and affected generations of environmental racism. It's changing into a place of solitude for Chicano ex-hipsters and Chicano sympathizers, pleasing the public in the eyes of the city of San Diego, furthering urban planning to corroborating solutions to prolong the progress and complete gentrification. Taking an abolitionist stance against environmental racism, not only electrifying Barrio Logan, but reconstructing the damage done to the residents and the neighborhood. Solutions for reconstructing Barrio Logan include resident displacement resources, income reconstruction, and more non-governmental organizations, such as the Alpha Project, serving the homelessness population of San Diego, and NGOs with initiatives to rebuild Barrio Logan's health for our dying and aging residents. An example of an initiative for aiding the community has been converting the old Barrio Logan Hotel that used to be a travel lodge into a family shelter. Proposing more shelters, training, and funding to programs such as Barrio Logan College Institute, an after-school college readiness program, can help aid the homelessness teen population to get out of the neighborhood and bring back that degree to derail the cycle of teen homelessness. It's important for the San Diego community to actively support cleaning the air pollution that includes programs to aid the consequences of environmental racism. The San Diego Green New Deal Alliance has been proposing development of affordable, equitable, and inclusive communities of concern in San Diego powered by renewable energy. Barrio Logan has fought for visibility in the city of San Diego through countless acts of activism and perseverance. Recently, plans for a cement factory have been stalled in February by the Board of Port Commissioners, Rafael Castellanos, after residents and activists pushed for less air pollution from diesel trucks. The political power that the residents hold is useless without the help of non-residents who care about the environment and the human right to clean air. Barrio Logan has been a victim of environmental racism since the 1970s. Extractive industries have invited big businesses and factories to participate in growing capitalism at the health expense of others. Resident families have been evicted, pushed out of affordable living due to the newly built non-affordable studio lofts. Barrio Logan is rebuilding itself to fight the consequences of gentrification as acquisitions profit and build off its activist roots, without acknowledging the constant back and forth of San Diego's attention to reconstructing Barrio Logan and profiting off of its declining health. This displays how it's important for this community's voice to be heard. There is a desperate need to build awareness of the issue to non-residents and to not only replace one energy source with another, but reconstruct Barrio Logan's health. By aiding these local businesses, supporting helpful resources and non-governmental organizations, together we can help change the issues within the neighborhood of Barrio Logan.
On it though, we do have to stand
we gotta
strong.
be proud of that.